So every decisions matters a lot. Every decisions we take very minutely judging it, because every steps has a cost. So every decision matters a lot because we have a very limited resource. Okay. Some of the biggest risks in the entire transformation journey is that once you cannot see or you don't see coming. Right? That is the biggest issue, blind spots. Okay. There are quite few such blind spots, or you need to basically give attention to. If you can build that ESG or embed that ESG part into your finance. So you have to change your mindset as well, that ESG is not a separate department, separate topic.
You're listening to FaceTime with Leaders, the official podcast by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. Today's guest is Mr. Debashis Majumder, Senior Director at SAP India. With 22 years of experience across SAP, IBM, and product engineering, he's led complex digital transformations in procurement, supply chain, and finance across sectors. An alumnus of IIT Kharagpur and IIM Calcutta, Mr. Majumdar brings a rare blend of technical depth and strategic clarity. He's also the founder of My Children Foundation, a grassroots initiative focused on education, livelihood, and sustainability. Welcome to the show, Mr. Majumdar. It's an absolute honor to have you here with us.
Thank you so much. I'm truly honored to be here. I think Directors Institute has created is more than a platform. I think it is a space for real and honest conversations. Being able to share our journeys, our highs and lows, we can really connect and grow with others, just not as a professionals only, as people also. So I'm really grateful for the chance to be part of that.
Absolutely, the pleasure is ours, sir. So, without further ado, let's get straight to it. In this episode, we explore how Mr. Majumdar drives value at scale, builds alignments across global teams, and helps organizations stay ahead of disruption. So, Mr. Majumdar, to begin, could you take us through your career journey in your own words? You could talk about some of the defining roles, challenges, or transitions that brought you to where you are today.
Thank you for asking. See, my journey has been a blend of technology, very deep technological aspect of it, then strategic leadership, and really purpose-driven impact. I started my career as an engineer after graduating from IIT Kharagpur, then working on a product development in the areas like product lifecycle management, digital mockup, and robotics software. And these formative years gave me a strong technical foundation. You have to know about that background of everything. You need to know the subject, then only you can excel. Okay.
Right.
And it really gives me appreciation for solving very complex problems, but over the time, I really realized that I just don't want to building great products, but I want to understand how they create value for the businesses,
Right.
for the end users, for the people. And that curiosity led me to pursue a PGDM from IIM Calcutta, which shaped my entire understanding of business strategy, everything. And that helped me to make the leap from the engineering into the world of business and strategy. After IIM, I joined IBM as a functional consultant, and that gave me the opportunity to see that how the business gets run and what challenges they are facing really. So later, I joined SAP after IBM stint completed. Then I moved into a series of roles like pre-sales, then solution architecture, then
mm,
innovation principal, then industry business architect, all those roles I have done it. Then I moved into eventually growing into a leadership role. So today, as a senior director, I lead a product portfolio with a focus from GTM strategy, demand
right.
generation, and driving collaboration across sales, marketing, and partner ecosystems. But alongside my the entire corporate career, I have
Mm,
always been passionate about giving back to the society and creating a lasting, meaningful impact in life.
right.
Okay? A purposeful, understanding of the life and creating something really meaningful. Okay. About 5 years ago, I founded a non-profit focused on, children's education, creation of livelihoods, and promotion of sustainable products. It started small but has grown steadily. We are now scaling to new communities and
Mm,
expanding our initiatives. So, going
mm,
forward, if you ask me that what my vision is going forward, I'm excited about building more inclusive, sustainable ecosystem where the technology part of it and empathy go hand in hand. That's what
right.
I am looking for now.
That's great. I think that's a very powerful vision, Mr. Majumdar, and um, it's always insightful and encouraging to hear the real journey behind the titles, the choices that are made, the moments that are
Absolutely.
lived, and the shifts as well. So, thank you for sharing that with us. Now, as a senior director at SAP India, you're leading cross functional teams through really high stakes initiatives, from large scale deal cycles to driving demand across markets. So, in real terms, how do you lead through that kind of complexity, especially something when you have to factor in so many moving parts? People, priorities are involved. So, what's your way of bringing it all together?
That's a really great question, Priya. So,
Right.
honestly, it is a lot like, conducting an orchestra. So, there are
Mm,
many moving parts. You rightly said that, like different functions, okay, different geographies, different cultures, different timelines, and often there are competing priorities. You mentioned that.
mm,
What works for me is keeping things more people centric, very
understood.
focused on human aspect of it. I spend time understanding what each team really wants and what
Mm,
team required to succeed. Each team has a different aspect of it, and then make sure everyone stays focused on the bigger picture of the entire initiative. So when I have found that when people are aligned, just
mm,
not on their own tasks, but on the impacts, values,
mm,
and
mm,
outcomes they can create, their action impacts, they are much more resilient, they are much more innovative, much more
mm,
energetic. Okay,
mm,
it develops a sense of, accountability, sense of ownership. They can relate to what they are doing, what their action is, creating, what their action means. So that part is very important of it. And I am also a big believer in transparency. If something is off
absolutely.
track, it is better to know early, detect early, and fix it together.
Right.
It is not always smooth, definitely. Pia, it is not always smooth, as I am
Abs-
telling. It
I
is
can
not smooth.
imagine.
But with trust and open lines of communication, and I'm
Hmm,
very much believer that it is absolutely possible to lead through this maze, through this chaos, and
hmm.
deliver end desired results.
Right. Mr. Majumdar, when you were responding, a question came to my mind, and I was wondering, whenever you take on a major project and there are different departments handling various functions, and we are given a common goal and all the departments start working on it, do you all often reconvene or recenter, to make sure that everybody is continuing to stay on the same page and like tweak plans a little and take feedback from each other? Does that happen?
Yes, of course. And that's indeed a great point you raised and very
Hmm.
relevant. And yeah, see, some of the biggest risks in the entire transformation journey is that
Hmm.
once you cannot see or you don't see coming, correct? That is the biggest issue, blind spots. Okay. There are quite
Right.
a few such blind spots, or you need to be basically give attention to. But
Right.
but in interest of time, I will highlight top three, which is coming in my mind. So
Sure.
when top three, you should take care of that. Okay. Otherwise, you are into a big travel. In very future, in near future. Okay. One blind
Right.
spot I often see that people take an assumption that digital transformation is just about tools, platforms, technologies.
Hmm. Hmm.
In reality, it is actually mindset shift, shifting your mindset that
Ah.
what I'm doing in physical, I need to do in digital way of doing. So it is shifting your mindset. That is most important part of it.
Hmm.
Especially I have seen in procurement and finance, leaders sometimes underestimate the cultural inertia within the organization to
Hmm.
change, to yeah, and
Hmm.
the process dependencies that slows things down, very 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 slows and very difficult to basically moving forward. It should
Hmm.
be treated not as a technology driven transformation. It should be treated as a business transformation by the business for the business. That is very important aspect of it. We say often this aspect of it, but we don't take care in the real
True.
transformation journey. Okay. Another blind
True.
spot is fragmented processes.
Hmm.
On paper, things look like standardized, everything is good. But in practice, every region or every team does things a little bit differently, always.
Correct.
And that hidden complexities adds up fast. My advice to leaders, uh, get into the weeds at a very early stage, okay, and map all the
Right.
real processes, not just what is documented, in a formal way. It is not. You have to understand how people are running the show, right? And build cross-functional champions from the start, from the beginning of the project or transformation journey. And the last
Understood.
one is very important aspect of it, the emotional side of the change, how it affects teams, how it shapes power dynamics. Catching those early means involving your stakeholders in co-creating the end solutions. When people feel heard, actually they're part of the change, they are part of the change, they are not the
Correct.
victim of it. Okay. So focusing these early changes means investing in change management. That is very important aspect of it from day one, and
Hmm.
making sure your entire transformation journey is aligned with the measurable business outcomes. It is just not a tech milestones.
Absolutely. I think you've made some really important points there. And I think it was a very real and grounded take as well. And it's also interesting to know how leadership isn't just about frameworks, but it's also about how you bring people together
Absolutely,
for one
absolutely.
common goal and navigating pressure with clarity. So, thank you for that response. Which brings me to my next question. Um, Now, you lead through complexity with such clarity that just makes me wonder about the transformation side of things. You talked about procurement and finance, where stakes are really high, but gaps, like you mentioned, are often hidden. So, in your experience, what are you talked about a few blind spots in your previous response? Could you elaborate on a few more blind spots that you've seen organizations consistently overlook and how leaders catch them early before they grow into bigger challenges?
There's one part I already talked about, that
Yes.
often people thinks that that is a technical or tech migration process. So they
Hmm.
have a myopic view of it. And second part, I talked about the emotional part of the interchange change management, power shifting, that part. But if you
Right.
want to add another two, for an example, I have seen that people are the top management. There is a huge gap in the communication between top management and the lower level people. Lower level people
Right.
are always thinking that it is imposed. So you build the relationships right from the top management to the bottom level, and
Hmm.
you start the communication much before the entire project kicks off. So that is very important aspect to get the connection, and what changes it is bringing, what the benefit the end user will get. So that part of
Hmm.
it is very important, and it is a big blind spot. Second part of is people don't actually try it in a test mode. So for an example, once everything is done, people don't, when actual sign off is happens, people don't
Hmm.
try it out, that user acceptance testing part. So that is the
Ah.
bible. You have to basically go through the entire things and do some pilots, so do some due diligence before accepting that what is the end product of that technical migration or technical implementation part. So two things very important. People often actually people understand the importance but still often miss it. One is the connection and the communication from the top and bottom side of it, the
Hmm.
whoever is the end users. And second part is very important aspect is that when you are accepting a solution, it is a business project ultimately. You have to go through each and every steps that whether it is acceptable or not, and then
Hmm.
sign it off. Because once the implementation is
Right.
done, that is the product you will run for next 10 years, 20 years, 15 years. Yeah.
Right. I think that's a very astute observation, Mr. Majumdar. And often, like we talked about earlier, it's like, those behind the scenes gaps that are there, things that we don't always see on dashboards, but often derail transformation. Uh,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, right,
Right.
right. So, Mr. Majumdar, you speak about transformation from a business lens, and that's so inspiring. But I also know that your work goes very far beyond beyond the boardroom. You are the founding member of the My Children Foundation for over 5 years now. You founded it; it's your baby.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
we'd love to hear how has that experience at the grassroots level influenced the way you lead and think as a corporate professional?
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot, Priya. My work with My Children Foundation has been deeply, deeply grounding, so it is a newer kind of experience. See, when you are working at the grassroots level, Priya, whether it is supporting a child's education or helping rural artisans create
Mm,
sustainable livelihoods, you see very directly how your small actions is really creating long-term impacts. Your small action, you don't have to do, big things. Small actions create really, really meaningful and long-term impacts. It reminds me, you also know probably that leadership is not about titles. You said that sometime back. So
yeah.
leadership is not about titles. It is about service. That perspective has shaped me how I believe or how I behave in the corporate world. It's made me more, empathetic, more purpose driven, and much more
Mm,
conscious of long term impact of every actions. Whether it is a large scale GTM or go to market strategy or a
correct,
small team level decisions, I now always ask myself, who does this impact? And
correct.
how can we make it more inclusive or more
Mm,
sustainable? So that question automatically comes in my mind because of the experience of in my children foundation's grassroots level work. I think you would appreciate that at the foundation, we work with very, very limited resources. An NGO doesn't have much resources. So
mm,
every decisions matters a lot. Every decisions we take very minutely judging it because every steps has a cost. So
mm,
every decision matters a lot because we have a very limited resource. Okay. And that's taught me to be very resourceful and
mm,
to truly listen to every stakeholders, patiently listen to every stakeholders at every step. And that skill is very important, very critical in the corporate world as well, in the business, listen everybody
Mm,
and
mm.
every steps and be very resourceful. So let me put another very interesting perspective
Yes.
here. In the corporate world, we sometimes chase scale, speed, and performance. But at that grassroots, you learn to, celebrate progress in inches, because it is very difficult to scale very fast,
True.
because it is very difficult to bring changes at a grassroots level. So we celebrate progress in inches, not in miles. That experience has changed my perspective, how I lead teams in corporate world as well. It, it actually it's made me very patient, more
Mm,
people first, and more focused on building ecosystems where everyone has a chance to grow, everyone has a chance to shine. Okay, so
right.
that equality, that inclusiveness, that really is kind of learning from my work in my children foundation. It
So,
makes everybody humble.
so when you talked about, celebrating the small successes, somewhere I immediately thought of Atomic Habits by James Clear, where he talks about the
Absolutely.
small things that you should tweak. I mean, they're
Exactly.
completely different, but it's doing things. If we are looking at a goal, I think going step by step rather than taking a long or a high jump. I think there is more sustainability and longevity in that.
Yeah,
So
you are absolutely right. Yes, true.
absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. Um, so it's really powerful to see how leadership isn't just about outcomes in the boardroom, but also about creating impact where it matters the most. Uh, Mr. Majumdar, after everything you've built, from transformation at scale to grassroots impact, now I'm curious, when you look ahead, what's next for you? What are some of the aspirations that you hold for the future, whether it's within the boardroom or beyond it?
Yeah. So thank you again. That's a very thoughtful question. See, looking ahead, I see my journey will be continuing on two parallel, tracks, because
Hmm.
I build it. There is a corporate side of it. There is a non-profit side of it. On one hand, I want to keep pushing the boundaries of innovations, impact within the enterprise, space, especially in the areas, the newer areas like
Hmm.
sustainable transformation. That is very important aspect in today's world. Then responsible AI. AI is becoming a big thing in today's world. So, but it is a very powerful tool, but you have to be very
Hmm.
responsible. So, responsible AI part of it. Then definitely purpose driven growth. So, even in corporate world, people are talking about CSR, all those aspects of it. On the
Hmm.
other hand, I'm deeply committed to scaling my children foundations work and
Okay.
taking our grassroots works in the education and livelihood more on the underserved communities where we have not reached till now. If there is one aspiration that connects both the worlds, okay, corporate
Yeah.
and non-profit, is this: to create
Hmm.
ecosystems, whether in business or whether in the society, to create an ecosystem where growth is not just fast, but really meaningful and really inclusive. No, so
Wow.
I hope so. My work in the My Children Foundation, especially in the creation, livelihood creation part of it, I would
Hmm.
be able to give the rural artisans the access to the modern markets without
Wow.
losing their cultural roots. That is very important part of it. We should not lose the cultural
Absolutely.
part of it,
True.
but I want to give them access to the modern markets. That is very important to create more service, more livelihood part of it, and generate employment part. Eventually, what I would love to bring these two worlds, corporate world and the non-profit part, even closer. So
Hmm.
using corporate scale to amplify the grassroots changes.
Right. Right. I think that's something which is so inspiring and deeply motivating, not just for all our audience members, for me included, uh, hearing not just about what you've done, but where you want to go next. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Mr. Majumdar, given your experience leading transformation across industries and your involvement in grassroots impact through My Children Foundation, how do you view the role of ESG today? Like, in your perspective, how can leaders integrate ESG not just as a compliance goal, but as an integral part of long-term business strategy and innovation?
Wow, this is a great question. See, Priya, for me, ESG is not just a corporate agenda. It is very very personal for me because I am running a non-profit organization in parallel to corporate part of.
Correct.
So through my work with My Children Foundation, I see firsthand how this education, livelihood, sustainability intersect in the real world. I have seen that impact, and at the grassroots level, if you see from that perspective, it has shaped that how I view ESG is not just a corporate world
Mm,
everywhere in the personal life as well. But see, it is not just about any climate change or governance. It is about dignity. It is about
mm,
opportunity. It is about
mm.
shared growth. So that's what it is all about ESG. So if you grow with everyone. Take them, make it inclusive.
Absolutely.
If you want to treat people with dignity, give
True,
them equal opportunity. So that's
true.
what I am doing. So it is very personal to me. So leaders today have a huge opportunity to reimagine the ESG as a strategic advantage. It is not just a compliance factor. That is the most, I think,
Myopic view of
myopic
it.
view of ESG. They are thinking that I have to do this. It is not. It is your agenda. It is not company's
True.
agenda or country's agenda. It is world's agenda. It is no longer
Yes.
just about compliance or ticking boxes, as I am telling. It is about building business that is resilient, trusted, and future ready. Whether you
Yeah.
are in manufacturing, tech, services, doesn't matter. Your stakeholders, like customers, like
Mm,
investors, even your people, talent, they are holding you accountable for how you are impacting the planet and the society at large,
mm.
how you are treating people. Okay,
Correct.
take procurement for an example. I am giving a very lower level example now. Take example from procurement. Sustainable sourcing isn't just ethical part of it. It can be more cost effective in long run if you run it properly. From the finance
Mm,
point of view, like ESG linked KPIs, it is just not KPIs. It can ensure, it can shape your investment flows, if you can build that
mm.
ESG or embed that ESG part into your finance. So you have to change your mindset as well that ESG is not a separate
Yeah.
department, separate topic. You have to embed into your business, and it is a win-win situation. It creates a meaningful impact. Also, it actually gives a lot of business advantages.
Absolutely. And I think it's not just the responsibility of organizations, it's every individual's responsibility. I think the problem lies with people viewing, like you mentioned, ESG through through only a compliance lens, a very myopic view of the whole uh, of the situation, but they fail to recognize the long-term returns and they just focus on short-term returns, I think.
Short-term hardship, rather, that I have to do this, and it is costing me.
Yes,
What is the
yes,
result after five
yes,
years? So you have to think from that angle.
yes,
If I don't do, what is
absolutely,
the impact on the planet for people? And I am part of that.
absolutely. Yes. We are as responsible as anybody else, I think, right? Um, Before we end the interview, Mr. Majumdar, I'd love to hear your thoughts on your journey with Directors Institute. What prompted you to join? How has your experience been so far, and how has it added value to your growth as a board ready leader?
Thank you for asking again, Priya. Yeah, what prompted me? Um, it prompted me to join the Directors Institute is a very clear goal, to evolve from a business leader to a board
Hmm.
ready leader. So you need to know something, correct? So I am driving some transformation, I'm leading some teams. That doesn't mean that I know all the nuances of a board, running a board. The experience has been very invaluable, I would say, in helping my understanding the nuances of a boardroom dynamics, my fiduciary responsibilities, okay,
Mm.
and also the strategic role of governance, and in driving your sustainable growth part of it. See, it is not just about oversight. It is, people always says that board will oversight all the operations of company. So it is not just about oversight. It is about insight and the foresight. So the network we are creating, or we are exposed to, the network and the learning will really certainly accelerate my readiness for future board roles. So that I believe that is the reason I joined. Yeah,
I think it's always encouraging when leaders like you, they find genuine value in programs like this. It's not just in theory, but in how it prepares you for real world boardroom conversations and
absolutely,
impact, right?
absolutely.
Mr. Debashish Majumdar, thank you so much for sharing not just your experience, but your perspectives, the kind that just comes from years of walking the path with intention and integrity, from driving enterprise innovation at scale to nurturing change at the grassroots. Your journey is a reminder that leadership is as much about vision as it is about values. So thank you so much for being on FaceTime with Leaders and answering our questions. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Priya, and your team. That truly means a lot. I have always believed that leadership is about creating impact with intention, whether it is in the boardroom or whether it is on the ground. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share my thoughts, my journeys, learnings, and I really hope it inspires others to lead with both, purpose and also empathy. Thank you again.
And it's actually been our privilege to hear your story. And I'm sure our audience members are going to walk away with many takeaways, whether they are aspiring board leaders, seasoned professionals. Uh, they are walking away with a bag of goodies filled with both insight and inspiration. So, thank you once again for joining us here on FaceTime with Leaders, presented by Directors Institute. Until
Thank,
next time, everyone, keep leading with purpose. Thank you and take care.
thank you.